Hey gang, Tim is away from his desk, so you know what that means? It's a Flamethrower Girl channel takeover. Today we're covering the latest in AI video news and tools. Crank the air conditioning because things are heating up.
Man, you walk away to get a cup of coffee before you know it, an AI character's taken over your channel. But yeah, AI avatars have gotten pretty good. Today I've got a deep dive tutorial on how I pulled that intro off, plus a few of the shorts that you may have seen. I've got some tips and tricks I learned along the way, and a shootout of the 3 leading AI avatars, at least in my opinion. All that plus some metrics to see how an AI generated character performs across various social media platforms. A little bit on the humbling side. Okay, let's dive in. So as a quick FYI, if you are new to the channel, here is a brief history of Flamethrower Girl. Yes, she is very eye-catching, but she's actually part of a roster of recurring characters on the channel. There is, of course, the original flavor, the man in the blue business suit who began walking endlessly down city streets as an image generation test, really, from the beginning. There is also Dutch football player Daniela van de Donk dressed as a pirate. This is actually an early Stable Diffusion 1.5 image that, we kind of endlessly tweaked. Speaking of pirates, we also have Captain Renfield from Dead Sea, who is doomed to wander the oceans for his undead master. We also have Lyra, the Viking warrior, our space hauler crew, a bunch of noir detectives, and most recently, Tom. Yeah, that's his name, Tom. Flamethrower Girl actually began as a Midjourney generated image in some tutorial. I think she was an early Midjourney V7 creation. And looking through my library, she was apparently generated at a point in time when I thought grandmas with flamethrowers were pretty funny. I still think grandmas with flamethrowers are funny. Needless to say, since her debut, Flamethrower Girl has been a bit of a channel favorite, and she's been used as a test case for the evolution of AI video technology. Now, one place until now that she has never been tested is with AI avatars. That's mostly because I haven't been overly impressed by them, well, until very recently. So with the onslaught of Kling's recent updates, namely their 2.6 video model and their O1 Omni model, they kind of snuck their Avatar 2.0 model in late on a Friday. But as it turns out, it's pretty impressive. As mentioned earlier, we will be shooting out some of the other AI avatars, so we're gonna have a few different alternate methods for you to achieve this. But in the meantime, let's kick off with character creation. The first thing you'll wanna do is extract your character from your reference image. That's easily handled. Here I ended up using Kling's O1, but that said, you can obviously use Nano Banana Pro, which I'm using over on Recraft right now. The prompt is pretty simple. Just create a full body studio photograph against a neutral background in 9:16, so you get the full body thing. Now, I ended up going the route of the O1 model over on Kling. That's mostly because you can, train up your own element of your character there. Now, you don't necessarily have to go this route, but, again, because we have a trained up image of Flame Girl, I can take an image of me, a very neutral image, and just, prompt for @FlameGirl, standing behind the desk. And, in my opinion, possibly the retention holds a little bit better. Once we have our image, in this case, I ended up using a 16:9 image. We're going to use it on Kling. We will, again, look at the other models in a little bit. But for Kling, you simply come down in the video generation area, and Avatar should be here. They, of course, do have all of their preset guys. You'll want to create your own avatar in My Avatar, and then from there, obviously, just upload your image. Now, Kling and most of the other avatar platforms all do have their stock templated voices. These I never think sound that great. In my opinion, ElevenLabs is still kind of king of the hill when it comes to AI generated voices, either text to speech or via voice changer, which we are going to take a look at in just a minute. The additional side is that their pre-templated voices do tend to be pretty good, though I do think that you're going to get the most bang for your buck if you end up creating or cloning a voice, which I did for Flame Girl, kind of giving her that very vocal fry kind of millennial Gen Z kind of voice. But again, I mean, that's the one that kind of fits her, in my opinion. They do have this new V3 alpha that's out now where we have controls for stability from creative to robust. Let's take a listen to it on creative.
Hey guys, Flamethrower Girl filling in again. So AI generated characters have come a long way in terms of realism.
And now, of course, let's crank it all the way over to robust.
Hey guys, Flamethrower Girl filling in again. So, AI-generated characters have come a long way in terms of realism.
I should point out they also do have this enhanced prompt V3 thing. And if you hit that, it'll basically go through and sort of generate out tags, kind of like acting performance notes, which are pretty cool. From there, we of course bring our audio back over to Kling, upload it there, and what is kind of nice is that they do have a prompt section for your avatar here. We run this, and from here, we're actually just gonna skip a beat, and I'm gonna show you the short as it was released this morning, and then we'll circle back and go through how the whole thing was put together.
Hey guys, Flamethrower Girl filling in again. AI-generated characters have come a long way in terms of realism. There are still a number of giveaways, but a big one is in the performance. Acting can often seem a bit flat and maybe robotic, but that hurdle might be solved as ElevenLabs has their new React 1 model, which allows you to regenerate emotional performances from previously existing video. And it isn't just AI-generated video. You can use it on real footage as well, which does raise some interesting questions. One day, will we see an Oscar winner using AI enhancement for their performance? Will anyone even notice? I guess we'll find out soon. React 1 is in preview now, and I'll let you know as soon as I get a chance to test it. Or maybe I won't.
I mean, I could not resist the delicious irony of using an AI avatar to cover a story about AI acting. So to be fair, that was actually two different AI avatar models kind of smashed together. We're going to tear into the project in just a second, plus go over a few other characters and the social media metrics. But first, we'll take a quick word from today's sponsor, Mago. And this is one that I think you're definitely going to want to check out. It's a video-to-video restylizing, definitely up your alley. Relevant to your interests. Today, we're taking a look at Mago, which we did look at a few months ago, but at the time, they were still in closed beta. But you know how AI time moves. A lot has changed, and well, so has Mago. And as a big one, they are now open. So when they reached out for a partnered segment, it was kind of a no-brainer because Mago is pretty cool. At baseline, Mago is a restylizer for video, AI generated or not. And that opens up the door to a lot of use cases. For example, we can take a wandering barbarian video like this and bring it into Mago and turn him into a wandering winter barbarian. He's probably pretty mad that we didn't prompt more furs for him. So the way it works, and Mago does have a couple of tricks up its sleeve. We begin obviously by uploading our video. You can actually trim it if you want to, but we're just gonna leave this as is. And once we're in, we can then either upload a frame as a style reference or stylize the frame right on Mago. And here's where things get kind of cool because Nano Banana Pro is on board. I do want to point out that Seedream and Quen are also here. I know that, the banana has taken over the world, but the other models do exist and they are pretty good. And now that we have our bananified image, we simply hit the use this button and that'll repopulate back into our main area. Now, in terms of generating your output, you actually have a number of options via these templates. You do have manual control as well. We're going to go over that in just a minute. But, via the presets, we can do anything from replacing your character and your scene, doing a whole restyle for fast and moving people, and even these dream-like and abstract effects. Now, if you know your way around control nets, or, you just like moving sliders around, that is all obviously available to you down in the control nets section, and then more options available to you in advanced. Now, where Mago gets really powerful, especially if you're looking for the ultimate in control, is when we take, say, a video like this. This is just stock footage of a woman walking down the street, and we can restylize that video so that now she is walking down some futuristic cyberpunk street. But even more than that, we can restylize her so that she more appropriately fits the scene. And that is the strength with Mago, is that it does preserve the original performance. One use case that I think is very handy is using it, especially for VFX. Take, for example, again, stock footage, but a shot like this, and we can very quickly restylize it to this kind of apocalyptic look. And if you know your way around some masking techniques, you could even take your original footage and blend it together with multiple outputs for a very unique look. One thing that is very cool and super unique to Mago is in this timeline view. It allows us to take multi-shot videos such as this.
Hold, barbarian.
Do I pass, or do I take your head?
And restylize them without having to chop them up beforehand. Trust me, I've had to do this many times in the past. It's always a pain. So by moving our sliders around, I can take just this shot for an anime output.
Hold, barbarian.
And then follow that up with just the second shot.
Do I pass, or do I take your head?
Where this is really handy is experimenting with different looks.
Do I pass, or do I take your head?
So if you're feeling really clever and a little experimental, you could probably do an output containing multiple different styles. And really, that's just scratching the surface of what we can do with Mago. If you'd like to check it out for yourself, there's a link down in the description. And if you use the code THEORY, you will get 60% off the first month of Pro, which will obviously give you credits and access to the relaxed mode. But you do have to act quick, as the code is only good for the first 500 users, and well, it does expire in 10 days, today being December 9th. As always, my thanks to Mago for sponsoring today's video. And we're back. So as mentioned, that short that we saw earlier was actually the combination of two different AI avatar models. The first of which being, of course, Kling's O2 avatar. Take a quick look at that here.
Hey guys, Flamethrower girl filling in again. So AI generated characters have come a long way in terms of realism.
And I ended up testing it out with Veed's Fabric, which the plus side here is that Fabric is available via API. So if you use it over on something like Fal, you don't have to pay a monthly subscription cost. You can just pay per run. Although, it does run 15 cents per second at 720, 8 cents per second at 480.
Hey guys, Flamethrower girl filling in again. So AI generated characters have come a long way in terms of realism.
And then ultimately the project was strung together with 3 different outputs. This top one here, which actually I ended up relying the most on, was the Veed Fabric output. And then below it in the purple and the blue here are the Kling outputs. Now, why did I stack this way? Mostly because all of the AI avatars at some point or another in the generation will have some kind of like lip or lip flap decoherence, or the teeth get really mushy. So by juggling multiple outputs, I'm actually kind of able to cut away from a bad generation into a slightly less bad generation. But because the audio is synced to each one of these generations, that does give me flexibility to be able to sort of cut back and forth between them. So I do think that both Veed and Kling's avatars have their strengths. So this is a really good way of basically being able to optimize for both of them. Now, if you're wondering where HeyGen is in this whole thing, well, I did actually run an output in HeyGen's Avatar 4. So let's take a look at all 3 of them, essentially since they're all synced to the same audio.
And it isn't just AI generated video. You can use it on real footage as well, which does raise some interesting questions. One day, will we see an Oscar winner using AI enhancement for their performance? Will anyone even notice? I guess we'll find out soon. React 1 is in preview now, and I'll let you know as soon as I get a chance to test it. Or maybe I won't.
Now, I'll say one thing that people have asked me in the past is like, well, why don't you just avatar yourself? I always find that when you use a organic character, that sounds kind of dystopian, doesn't it? That the results just come out looking weird. For example, here is me in HeyGen. Well, the train keeps rolling. Kling have released Kling 2.6, and although it's a 0.1 update, it is a pretty big one because now we've got audio. Yeah, I mean, it just looks weird. That said, if we take my audio, we're gonna head back over to Kling and use Tom. Well, the train keeps rolling. Kling have released Kling 2.6, and although it's a 0.1 update, it is a pretty big one because now we've got audio. So yeah, for me at least, Tom looks a lot more convincing. It is weird hearing my voice coming out of him, but again, we could use ElevenLabs voice to voice and change that out.
Well, the train keeps rolling. Kling have released Kling 2.6, and although it's a 0.1 update, it is a pretty big one because now we've got audio.
So that does end up working pretty well. And what I like about it is the fact that it is my voice under there. Of course, I mean, there are tons of options and directions to go with, like, I don't know, taking Captain Renfield out for a spin.
The ship keeps sailing. Kling have released Kling 2.6. And while it be a 0.1 update, it be filled with treasure, matey.
Now, does the world need pirate-themed AI news updates? I kind of think we do. Speaking of which, in terms of performance metrics across social media platforms, the short that I released on Friday, which we have sort of the most data on, is currently sitting at like 18,876 views, has netted a total of $2.50. So I will get a medium coffee with that. But the interesting stat in short form here is that 91.9% of viewers stayed to watch as opposed to swiping away. Now, I don't really do shorts all that often, but it was kind of interesting to see that like Flamethrower Girl's one short kind of dusted every other short that I've done in the last year. Now, as a bit of a control factor for this experiment, I also did end up posting this over on my Instagram, which I never use. You can feel free to follow me there. I barely ever post there. Anyhow, the numbers there, at least on the Friday video, it got 643 views. Contrast that with, I think this was a short that I did when VO3 first came out, and that was sitting at 1,436 views. And then one with my face, where actually I'm talking about bite dances. One of the bite dance like things that they never released was sitting at 2,100 views. So there is that. And then finally over on TikTok, which I really never use, poor old Flamethrower Girl got about 19 views there. So at the end of the day, I think that's a pretty important note. I think that, the Flamethrower Girl shorts performed pretty well here because, well, frankly, you guys know who Flamethrower Girl is. When you see her and, well, this background, you have a pre-existing relationship. Not so much the case over on, say, like TikTok and Instagram. To top it off, the short that I made this morning with avatar generation, which tended to take for a minute-long piece, somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15 to 20 minutes, and then ultimately after that, it still just came down to just straight editing. And by that, I mean by the time we got here, this is just like this is actually how I would edit just a normal short, whether AI generated or not. So I would say like total work time was probably in the neighborhood of about an hour 15, which is kind of funny because like that's pretty much how long it would have taken me to just traditionally do this video. So personally for me, I mean, I don't know if there's that much more of an advantage in, using an AI avatar other than the fact that like Flamethrower Girl gets way more views than I do. But there are also days when, well, frankly, I mean, I just don't feel like being on camera, or I might be sick, or I'm traveling, in which case this does open up the door to being able to provide you guys with like news and content. So let me know in the comments what you guys thought about the whole Flamethrower Girl channel shorts takeover. Let me know if you would like to see more of them or, more characters showing up in them, or if you hated the whole thing and you don't watch shorts anyhow. In the meantime, I thank you for watching. My name is Tim.